So right now we're talking about the headphone mix in on the O2R. So the problem is the engineer needs to hear everything from the monitor's mix. The singer gets latency from Pro Tools, and the solution is hear the music from Pro Tools on the monitor path, and then hear the vocal direct on the input path. Now this is something you also want to do on the Audient. We're kind of talking about it in the O2R right now. This is one thing why we need to deal with the headphone mix, and why you should probably always use auxes 7 and 8 instead of just coming from the control room, because the control room, the vocalist, if they're hearing their vocals, there's going to be latency. Now, if the vocalist is not listening to their vocals at all, and a lot of people don't really need to, they'll just put like one headphone on and they'll just sing into the mic and not actually not hear their vocal at all. And that's how I like to do it. I know a lot of singers like to do it like that, because hearing your voice in the headphones is a little bit weird, especially once you get used to not hearing it in the headphones. It is a bit strange to hear it in those headphones. So if you're doing it like that, this is a non-issue. You don't need to worry about this. But if you have a singer who does want to hear themselves in their headphones, then you may want to set it up like this. Also, if you need a headphone mix, it's like different levels for different people. If you have multiple recording people, then you're going to want to set it up like this as well. So what we need to do is we need to get the microphone here. Let me just zoom in on this for you. We need to get the microphone so it goes straight in, and then it just kind of turns around and comes back out, instead of going in and then going through the computer and then going into the console again and coming back out over here into this one here to the headphones. We don't want it to do that. We want it to go in and come straight back out. So that means we need to set up so the singer is hearing themselves from the input path, but they're hearing the music from the monitor path. And in order to do that, we're going to set up a headphone mix. And the headphone mix is going to have your instruments from your monitor path, whatever mix you're doing, they're going to hear that coming from the monitor path, but then their vocal is going to be going to the from the input path. And it's actually not as hard to do. It's actually easier to do this on the O2R than it is on the Audient, if you know a trick. There's one trick, and I'm going to tell you about that trick a little bit later. So what the engineer is going to hear is on the monitor path, the music and the vocals both coming from Pro Tools in the control room mix. What the singer is going to hear is the music from the monitor path and the vocals from the input path on the headphone mix. Okay, so our headphone mix, let's set that up first. The headphone mix in the O2R is sent from auxes 7 and 8. The studio section has buttons for auxes 7 and 8. The control room section has buttons for assignments 1 and 2. And assignments 1 and 2 are equal to aux 7 and 8, in our case at SAE in New York. Now check this out. What I'm talking about is right over here. We need to set up our studio and our control room. We need to set both of those. So we're not going to actually, I think this thing does talk about it in terms of like stereo, so it says like aux 7 and 8 a lot. But in reality, you really only need to set up one in mono for aux 7 or aux 8, not both really, because they don't need to hear it like stereo. So aux 7 is right up here, and we can set that so what's going to the studio is not the stereo, but aux 7 right there. And the control room is going to be the stereo, which is right here. So we can use these buttons down here where it says assign 1 and assign 2. We can use those in order for us to hear what the singer is hearing. So if we want to, when we're setting up the headphone mix, it's a good idea to hear what the person in the other room is hearing, so we know what's going on. So we can push those buttons, these two buttons right here, in order to hear for us, or just one of them for mono. And then turn off that stereo button there, so we can just flip it real quick. Okay, that's what it sounds like. Great. Okay, we can stop listening to it. It's the same thing on the Audient as pushing the solo button on the foldback A or foldback B. So to create a headphone mix, layers select 25 through 48. Fader mode should be set to aux, and then select aux 7. Make sure you are listening via the headphone mix in the control room. So that means you're going to have to press assign 1 or assign 2. In this case, if it's aux 7, it's going to be assign 1. Or you can do both for stereo, assign 1 and 2. Recreate your mix for aux 7, adjusting for artist's wishes where necessary. Now, because we're in fader mode aux, all of our faders are going to be what's being sent to the headphone mix. That's how that's set up. We need to make sure it's also in pre-level setting, pre-fader, which is something I'll show you where to do that in a separate section. And then send the microphone input path to the headphone mix, layer select 1 through 24, adjust the channel volume for the mix as well, or for the mic rather. General setup notes, the input path. The microphone is plugged into mic bay number 1, O2R is input number 1, channel 1 direct is on, stereo is off, Pro Tools channel input is set to number 1. This is all for recording stuff in. And on the monitor path, Pro Tools channel output is set to O2R 27, or whatever we're coming back into. This is like assuming that you're running from a stereo, like a stereo song file or something like that. Like if you don't have a big giant mix, you just got a stereo song file. So our 2-track would be going into 25 and 26, and we can have the vocal come into 27. Now you'll notice that this is not one-to-one here. What's happening is that we have the microphone plugged into channel 1, and our microphone is coming back to channel 27, which 27. There we go. Which is essentially number 3. And the reason why we're setting it up like that is just because that's if the mic is coming into number 1. Now, what I would do in real life is I would actually bring that mic into number 3. I wouldn't have it coming back into number 1. I would have it coming back into number 3. You can quickly copy the fader levels to the aux send them out. This is a great little trick here. But before we do that, let's just go through this one more time because we're actually done. It always catches me off guard when I get to that part. I'm like, oh wait, that's all it is, because it feels like it would be a lot more, but it's actually not a lot more. It's just this little bit right here. So what we're looking at here is okay, so we set the headphone mix layer 25 through 48, aux fader mode set to aux, and then set that mix so we're good to go, which in this case is just 3 things: the stereo mix and the microphone, the mic that we're hearing, right? And that microphone, the stereo mix is just going to the headphone thing, and then that's going to be coming from layers 25 through 48 because it's a monitor path thing. And then the microphone is coming from channel 1, so you're going to push that up. So if you've got them all set on top of each other, it's going to get weird. It's going to get weird fast. So I would recommend putting that mic on channel 3. And then over here, this talks about if we have a whole bunch of stuff and you want to set that headphone mix really quickly, and here's the shortcut, is that if you have like 8 tracks of things that you're recording, and you got all these levels set, all these crazy things set up here. Let me actually open up, well, I haven't tried it yet. Let's see if I can open this up. Let's go here into our things here, and let's just say if we have the 1604 simulator here, let's just see if this actually opens. I'm not sure if this will open or not. Are you going to open? You are going to open. Okay. So over here, if I pull these up, if I operate this, and I've got this set like this, all this set up here, then if I got these set up here like this, what we want to do is we want these to go to the auxes immediately. So we want this stuff to go to the auxes immediately. So in order to do that, the easiest thing to do is what this says over here. This copy the fader levels to the aux send amount. And the way we do that is you press and hold the layer button that you want to copy from, which would be our 25 through 48, layer 25 through 48, because that's our monitor path. And then we're going to press the aux select button for the channel we want to send it to. So if we want to send it to aux number 7, we're going to hold down the select button for layer 25 through 48, and we're going to press the aux 7 button in our aux select section up here. It's going to pop up a window that says, hey, are you sure? Do you want to copy this over? Say yes. If you want it to be stereo, do that again for aux number 8. Just hold down 25 through 48 and then press the aux 8 button there. And then you can make little adjustments as needed. Make sure that your aux sends are all set for pre. And then so to do that, you go to the aux select button, display, and then just go to global pre on down here. Make sure you're set for sends 25 through 48 and then global pre down here. The thing is, this saves you so much time because on the Audient, if I want to send my stuff out to, let's say if I'm using the Mackie 1604 and my headphone mix is for send number 4 right here. So what I would do is I'd have to go through for every single one and I have to set my settings for every single one like this. See how I got to go through and set up my settings on my auxes, and I have to press all the pre buttons like this. Press. Let me zoom in so y'all can see that a little bit better. There we go. So I'd have to do all this stuff here just to get these to be the same. Let me get number 6 as well. There we go. But on the 02R, I can literally take these levels here and just copy them to these aux sends right here by just holding down the layer select button and then pushing the aux select button and then saying, yes, do it. Okay. You'll see once you're in there, as we go through this, I'm going to show it to you. I'll have Michael show it to you to make sure that everybody's on the same wavelength there, on the same page about how to do that. Just make sure if somebody doesn't show it to you, then just make sure that you ask about it. Just say, hey, what's this thing about copying the layers over? Because it's a really good thing. And if it slips our mind, you definitely want to know about it. Okay, in the patch bay, we have to set up to connect a cable from 7 to left and right, or from 8 to left and right. So 7 and 8, left and right, or if you just want one side, just 7 or 8 or whatever, and just make sure you've got it set so you've got it in mono in the studio there. But that's how you do that. You just take a couple cables right there, omni out, and just boom, boom, and just go, and you're good to go there. All right, cool. And that's the end of that. Now, this one in particular is going to be much easier once you're sitting in front of it. You're definitely going to need to go and sit in front of the 02R to make sure that you're good to go there.